think it's safe to say that 2022 was a weird year for pro wrestling. From Cody Rhodes departing AEW, to Vince McMahon going down like Capone for his taxes, to AEW's locker room devolving into an above-ground version of Fight Club, it's been a very long 365-day sprint. Despite these issues, however, this year has also produced some stellar wrestling on television and on pay-per-view. So with the year slowly ticking to a close, I thought it would be fun to list my top 10 favorite matches of the year. But before we do, here are just a few honorable mentions that just missed the cut. Roman Reigns vs. Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle. An excellent title match in front of a white-hot crowd and a glorious display of both men's talents, but that weird-ass finish tainted it ever so slightly for me. Jon Moxley vs. Wheeler Yuta, AEW Rampage. Old school wrestling violence at its finest and a true star-making performance for Wheeler Yuta. Would have made the list, but it was edged out by another brutal matchup we'll be talking about later. The Acclaimed vs. FTR and Young Bucks vs. FTR2, both from AEW Dynamite. Needless to say, it's been a really good year for FTR, so much so that I had to limit myself to one FTR match for the list itself. Hence why, for as incredible as their TV matches with the Bucks and the Acclaimed were, I ultimately went with my final choice for the list. I still wanted to give these two some love because they really are fantastic. The Dudes with Attitudes vs. the Bullet Club from AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling present Forbidden Door. Sting matches are ridiculous. Young Buck matches are also ridiculous. Throw them together with Darby Allin, El Phantasmo, and Shingo Takagi, and you've got a recipe for something ridiculously special. Far from the most logical matchup, but a damn good time nonetheless. Sammy Guevara vs. Cody Rhodes, AEW Beach Break. A phenomenal ladder match, a star-making performance for Sammy Guevara, but more importantly, a memorable exit for Cody Rhodes from AEW. Stellar stuff for sure, just look at that f***ing cutter, but again, just barely missed the cut. And now, onto the actual list. I should note that, like most lists on the internet, this one is just my opinion, and if you have issue with it, kindly direct your complaints here. Moving on. Number 10, Sami Zayn vs. Johnny Knoxville, WrestleMania Night 2. Few matches made me smile more this year than this one. To be clear, am I saying that this match is on the same level as the honorable mentions and even the other 9 matches on this list? No. But was this match entertaining as hell? 100% yes. What could have come off as just a disposable celebrity appearance match went on to become one of the weekend's most anticipated and entertaining matchups. I'm a huge Jackass fan, so seeing their brand of absurdist, gross-out humor on the grandest stage of them all was a massive thrill. Additionally, Sami Zayn, aka one of 2022's true in-ring MVPs, leaned all the way into the proceedings built with Knoxville. Between Zayn's hilarious selling and the pure dedication to the bit from both men, it's just a damn delight. Also, Wee Man slams Sami Zayn like Andre the Giant, which is just fantastic. Number 9, Anarchy in the Arena, AEW Double or Nothing. I don't think it'd be unfair to say that the feud between the Blackpool Combat Club and the Jericho Appreciation Society went on a bit too long for its own good. However, it can't be denied that it did result in one of 2022's finest bits of madness, Double or Nothing's Anarchy in the Arena match. Simply put, it was Stadium Stampede, but in place of sports entertainment f***ery, there was blood, violence, and implied manslaughter. In short, all the things that make pro wrestling great. From Wild Thing looping for the opening minutes of the matchup to the brutal closing moments, there's honestly too much to cover. There's Santana and Ortiz hitting a double splash off of dual ladders. There's Bryan Danielson unlocking his true fighting spirit. There's Eddie Kingston emerging from the entrance ramp, covered in blood, holding a gasoline canister. Is it stupid and perhaps a bit too long for its own good? Possibly. Do I give a f***? No. As far as pure spectacle is concerned, this match had it by the load. Number 8, FTR vs. Briscoes, 2 out of 3 falls at ROH Death Before Dishonor. This one was tough because I honestly could have made a case for any of FTR's title matches being on this list. However, I had to go with my gut and go with the one that engaged me the most, and by God, it had to be their brutal 2 out of 3 falls match with the Briscoes at ROH Death Before Dishonor. Regardless of what you think of their personal politics, there's no denying the wrestling talent of Jay and Mark Briscoe. The match takes everything that made their first encounter at Supercard of Honor work and just cranks it up to 11. All four men are firing on every possible cylinder here, resulting in heart-stopping near fall after heart-stopping near fall. Part of me really wanted to put their recent dog collar match on this list instead, but I felt that this match was just a little bit better. Let's hope that they don't wait too long for round 4. Number 7, Toni Storm vs. Jamie Hayter, AEW Full Gear. This year, AEW has seen fit to address one of its bigger points of contention in the eyes of fans, that being the oft inconsistent nature of their women's division. Despite being loaded with top-shelf talent, the division has been plagued by often very underwhelming booking, and this year especially some very ill-timed injuries. However, this year also saw the division take some legitimate strides in the right direction. Case in point, this certified banger from Full Gear 2022. After a slow start, Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter really hit the ground running, and by the end, the audience was hanging off of every clothesline and every near fall. Every move in the match feels precise and impactful, resulting in some stellar back-and-forth action between both women. Add to it AEW finally putting the title on Jamie Hayter, something the fans had been clamoring for ages, and you have a women's match that people will be talking about for a very long time. Number 6, The Elite vs. Hangman Page and Dark Order, AEW All Out. It's been an interesting year for The Elite, to say the least, and that's not even including the events that followed this very match. Despite the surrounding controversies, let it never be forgotten that this match is an absolute gem. Kenny and the Bucks' often excessive in-ring style is an acquired taste for many, but when it works, holy f*** does it work. The match works as both a showcase for the 6 men involved and as another chapter in the ongoing drama between the Elite and Hangman Page. I've always maintained the important balance of story and in-ring action for pro wrestling, and this match manages both beautifully. Just look at the reaction for Page and Omega's stare down partway through the match for evidence of that. There's just an infectious energy to this match that's just a bit indescribable. Whatever you think of them, the Elite has always brought it when it's go time, and this is no exception. What happened a few hours later was admittedly a bit deflating, but hey, we'll always have this match. Also, it has John Silver running wild and doing cool moves, which is always a nice thing. Number 5, Becky Lynch vs. Bianca Belair, WrestleMania, Night 1. My favorite women's match of the year and my favorite title match of the year as well. I make it no secret that I utterly despised what they did with Becky and Bianca at last year's SummerSlam, but to be honest, if this was the end game all along, I can't deny that it worked to its benefit. Bianca Belair is in a truly special place in her career right now, and at the time of this writing has shown zero signs of slowing down. Her star power is exceptional, and it went hand in hand beautifully with Becky Lynch's pitch-perfect heel performance. Belair, working through a legitimately injured eye that was quickly swelling up, gave the match an added dose of urgency that only added to the flavor. Top it all off with another crowd-popping win for the EST, and it's no wonder why this match had Texas on its feet. Between Lynch's old-school villainy and Bianca's never-say-die attitude, the whole match is old school in the best possible way. Number 4, Eddie Kingston vs. Chris Jericho, AEW Revolution. And speaking of old school, while I've noted that it went on way too long for its own good, Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho's feud pitting pro wrestling against sports entertainment started off in grand fashion. The match's build was simple. Eddie had yet to win the big one on pay-per-view, and Jericho was very confident that he never would. The War of Worlds between both men made for a tremendous build-up, and the match definitely delivered. It's very clear both Kingston and Jericho share an affinity for old-school, hard-hitting Japanese wrestling, and this match is packed to the brim with stiff shots and pitch-perfect selling. The final moments, which finally see Kingston win a match on pay-per-view by making Jericho submit, is pure, undiluted catharsis. Add to that a moment where Kingston has to confirm his win with the referee, and it's impossible not to smile during his celebration. Simple, blunt, and to the point, Kingston vs. Jericho showed that sometimes wrestling is at its best when it's simple. Number 3, Walter vs. Sheamus, WWE Clash at the Castle. Speaking of wrestling being at its best when it's kept simple, who's up for a Haas fight? 2022 has seen the rise of many fresh young stars, but also the resurgence of established names who have hit a welcome second win. Sheamus has seen a glorious uptick in popularity this year, due in major part to his affiliation with the Brawling Brutes and his still ongoing rivalry with Gunther and Imperium. While I can't stand his name change, seriously, what was wrong with Walter? 2022 has been more than good to the man now known as Gunther. Since his arrival on the main roster, the former independent standout has been killing it as a true force to be reckoned with. Clash at the Castle was already on track to becoming one of 2022's best shows, and this surefire Intercontinental title classic definitely helped put it over the top. This match couldn't have been any more simple. Two big men doing anything and everything to put each other down for the 3 count. Both men leave absolutely everything in the ring, hitting move after move with calculated brutality. Add to that a hot European crowd and you'll have a slugfest that people won't be forgetting anytime soon. Number 2, CM Punk vs. MJF in a dog collar match, AEW Revolution. Yes, I know. Mentioning anything tangentially related to CM Punk at this point is akin to throwing gasoline on a lit bonfire, but god I don't care. This match rules. Simply put, I love storytelling, I love emotional investment, and I love it when a match lives up to the build that preceded it. This match does that and then some. The dog collar stipulation really brought the best out of MJF and Punk, making for an intentionally slow but undeniably emotional matchup. Every spot, every move, every facial expression just adds to the anarchy, and it all culminates in a riveting closing segment. While his run in the company definitely ended under some very unpleasant circumstances, Punk still gave AEW some utterly stellar matches and moments, this one being no exception. And number 1, Cody Rhodes vs. Seth Rollins, WWE Hell in a Cell. What's this? A Hell in a Cell match that actually suits the feud that's culminating within it? I must be off my meds. Following his jaw-dropping exit from All Elite Wrestling, many fans were rabidly anticipating when the son of a plumber would appear back on television. We were kept waiting with bated breath until the first night of WrestleMania 38, when Cody Rhodes returned to WWE after almost 7 years away. Resulting in an appropriately generous crowd reaction, soon enough, the man who'd left them in the dust was being treated like a legitimate superhero on WWE television, complemented perfectly by Seth Rollins playing a slimy, smarmy heel to perfection. Their trilogy's finale, set inside Hell in a Cell, was already shaping up to be something special, but then real life reared its ugly head. Prior to the event, Rhodes tore his pectoral muscle during a training session, but decided to still go ahead with the matchup. The reveal of his bruised chest, and I can speak from experience, resulted in one of the year's most visceral reactions from fans. For over 20 agonizing minutes, Seth targets his injury like a psychopath, even grinding a kendo stick into it. It was brutal, very uncomfortable, and definitely inadvisable from a health perspective, but it made for one of 2022's finest babyface performances. With Cody's health reportedly close to 100%, here's hoping we don't have to wait much longer to see him back on our screens soon. 2022 was an insane year for the Squared Circle, and we can only wonder what'll be in store for 2023.